This week, Ubisoft cancels Immortals Fenyx Rising sequel, Tencent's Techland stake is shown, and the PlayStation 5 Pro Project Trinity rumors abound, and so much more, because this is the Nerd Cave News, and I am one of your hosts, Zach Dice, joined along with, there is a delightfully quirky dragon who specializes in crafting magic teas. With vibrant scales and shimmering like a kaleidoscope, he roams the enchanted forest in search for rare ingredients to concoct his mystical brews. From his cozy den, nestled in a hollowed-out tree trunk, he stirs his cauldron, infusing his teas with enchantments. Each cup holds a unique surprise, like possessing the power to transform the drinker's appearance, or invoking a vivid dream, or even grant the ability to speak with animals. Come, enjoy a steaming cup of laughter-inducing giggle tea with Fizzlewings, the tea dragon, and have a delightful adventure.
Very sophisticated, very proper. I said, I got
out.
hints of
Pinky
what?
out. Pinky out.
My bad. I got hints of Harry Potter mixed with My Hero Academia a little bit.
Okay.
So with the different, so very sophisticated. Now, where does this rank?
I don't know,
So,
Derek. Where does it rank?
So as always, this is going to be our 22nd name, sir. 22nd.
Wow.
We'll be, we're almost, minus the weeks we've had to miss, we're almost halfway, a half a year's worth of names. So let's look at the top 10. We got Captain Faxon, the Merciless Blackwood, Drag Heron, the Horde Destroyer, the Grove of Light Balro Wraithry, President Desmond Cyrus Alizon III, Sheriff Steelheart, Saris Ulthura, the Secret Keeper, Combat Master Vexar Skirata, Talolokan, the Sun God King, Thorod Ragason, the Warrior King, and Galrinth, Bringer of Death. So, I don't think it's top 5.
Okay. Is it top 10?
That's what I'm deciding, because because the thing that hurts it is, granted, yes, again, good exposition definitely makes or breaks, but the name has to sell it. A little long in the tooth, just a tad long in the tooth here for the description. However, I still think it's good enough to be in, just because of the mystique, the magic, the sophistication, and I want a good variety in the time. I don't want it all be like serious death, warrior, It's going to be the new number 10.
No, okay. Well, congratulations. Fizzlewings. Now, Fizzlewings, I have to talk to you about Derek real quick.
Okay.
Derek loves the strong, empowering names, clearly.
Right.
But Fizzlewings, I'm glad that you're here.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, people got to know that Derek is not just, a destroyer, a secret keeper, a sun god, an emperor, this, that, and the other, a gunslinger. Sometimes he's a little bitty dragon.
Yeah.
Sometimes
it's okay. I just like the simpler things in life.
Yeah.
There's different types of anime. There's slice of life, and sometimes that involves, there's literally an anime called Dragon Goes House Hunting.
Well, there you go. There you go. But guys, this episode of the Nerd Cave News is brought to you by Coffee Brand Coffee and our wonderful patrons. But more about that later, because it's time for the gaming discussion this week. First up, Ubisoft has reportedly canceled Immortals Fenyx Rising sequel.
What? A new report from VGC claims that Ubisoft has canceled a previously planned sequel to its Greek mythology-infused Immortals Fenyx Rising title. It was only last year that we heard a sequel to Fenyx Rising was in the works, and there were rumblings shortly after that it would be more of a spin-off-like title that would be Polynesian-themed. Now, however, it does not seem that title will be happening at all if VGC's, quote, development sources are to be believed. While the canceling of a new title of the same ilk as Immortals Fenyx Rising might be disappointing for fans, it makes more sense when put in the context of what's changed at Ubisoft since the first game's release. mainly the fact that Ubisoft has since pivoted to focusing on its biggest franchises like Assassin's Creed and putting its resources into those IPs rather than trying to build new or untested titles. According to VGC sources, the plans for a Phoenix Rising sequel were first put into the danger zone when the shift towards Assassin's Creed and its other big franchises. There's been an update since. Ubisoft has issued the following statement to VGC. As part of our global strategy, we are redirecting and reallocating some creative teams and resources within the Quebec studio to other unannounced projects. The expertise and technologies these teams developed will serve as an accelerator for the development of those key projects focused on our biggest brands. We have nothing further to share at this time. So, I didn't play Immortals Fenyx Rising. I know you did. I know you didn't finish it from
No.
what I remember, but I know you enjoyed what you did play and that there was like definitely something there that they could move forward with. Hearing this and seeing that, thanks to the Singapore government, Skull and Bones is one of the few games that have not been canceled.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But this reminds me of Activision with them having other studios and not closing them, but folding them into their big studios to just work on Call of Duty. They're full bore on Call of Duty, Call of Duty, Call of Duty. And now it seems like Ubisoft is making this pivot with Assassin's Creed. Sure, there's going to be other franchises because they're a huge company. They have the resources to make other titles. And because there's other fan bases that are big enough, like with Rainbow Six Siege and everything like that. That this feels like they're doing the same thing, just having everyone stop what they're doing and try to help focus in on Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, and I know we talked about the development of the new Assassin's Creed games. They're literally pulling from all of the different developers and everything. And I think even the Star Wars game is getting that same treatment. There, a lot of them are working on it. I think they are in crisis mode. I don't know. We've talked about Yves. It's like, hey, it's your job to make us successful. And I think a lot of it is poor planning, poor management, where they are in this crunch period, and fear does a lot of things to a person, and fear will have these pain points where it's like, money's tight. We got to make cuts to these things. Okay, where's somewhere we're not making a ton of money? Immortals. Right. Okay, well, let's cut it, which stinks.
Because there's good ideas. That's what they canceled the UbiArt projects as Child of Light. I know we got a sequel to it. What was it? Valiant Hearts. I know we got eventually a sequel to it, but still, how many years did that take between the first one? So those were good projects that they could have done something with, and they're just like, can it?
Yeah, and they're comparing Immortals Fenyx Rising. I was reading IGN's report. To Assassin's Creed Valhalla, like during the same period of time. It's like it didn't sell as well. It's like Assassin's Creed has been around since like 2006, 2007.
Yeah.
It has been around that long. It is a well-established
The first one was a timed exclusive to Xbox 360.
Yeah. And it's like comparing these two as apple and oranges. Also, like, it is totally different style of game. It does have some of the open world things that the newer Assassin's Creed had, but it had more of the humor of like Fable. It felt more like Breath of the Wild. And it had like the more quirky, Greek humor, Greek or you know what I'm talking about, the Greek mythology, but they were putting in this like comedic lens, which is not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but it was something interesting and something different. I understand when you have to make cuts, you're going to make cuts to the places that aren't making a lot of money. Same thing with another company that we'll talk about later. It's like they're looking, and this is all across tech and game development.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, what are you working on? Oh, it's not making us any money. All right, they're the ones.
Cut it.
They're the ones that are going to get cut, or their things going to get scrapped, just like Media Molecule. Getting rained in on Dreams and everything. I hate this because I really was interested in seeing what they could do with a second time at bat. But to Amy's point, she said, why are they doing more Assassin's Creed? Has it really done that well? And
yes and no.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of a double-edged sword. You live by the sword, you die by the sword, is what the
Yep.
word says. And I think it's interesting because it's like we got burnt out with Assassin's Creed not too
Yep.
long ago. It hasn't, like, maybe 10 years ago at this point,
Yeah.
if that. And
Yeah, because it's ebbed and flowed. Like it went from an annual release. Everyone got burned on it because they were doing huge open world games that just kept getting bigger and bigger. They first cut it off after Syndicate, took a couple years off, revamped it to more of an RPG, super
mhm,
open world with Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla, and they kind of staggered the release, but then people got burnt out on these huge open world games that they could never finish. I know it's in the quick hits, but they came out to reiterate and say, because that first huge gameplay
yeah,
trailer we saw of Outlaws, where you could actually fly into the space and do
mhm,
battles at real time. People were worried. It's like, oh, is this going to be just another like Starfield clone, but it's going to take thousands of hours for me to do
yeah,
everything? And Ubisoft came out and is like, no, we're not doing a 200 to 300-hour unfinishable RPG. So they're listening to that. That's why they're going back to the drawing board with Mirage. And they're still going to do one with Codename Red, is going to be the last. We talked about it a few weeks ago, being the last of the Origins formula. But still, like, they're just trying to figure out, they're trying to keep up with the trends of what gamers want so they can still make Assassin's Creed relevant so it doesn't die off.
yeah. A Syndicate 2015, they took 2 years off. 2017 is when Origins came out. And Origins
Hmm.
was cool. It was a nice breath of fresh air. I know
Yep,
you really liked Odyssey.
for sure.
You played the mess out of it. And once, like, we got to Valhalla, it was like, okay, this formula is already old. And
Yep.
I think there's a lot of opportunities story wise that can be done in the Assassin's Creed world, but Ubisoft is going so heavy
Yep.
with Assassin's Creed. It is going to turn into what Disney is suffering right now. Is
Yep.
they have just flooded the market with Marvel and Star Wars. And
Hmm.
when supply increases, guess what happens, Derek? Demand
Demand lowers.
decreases. And that's just
Yeah.
literally how it works. Supply and demand. It's like
Yeah.
when there's not a lot of gas, guess what? Prices go up. When there's a lot of
Yep.
gas, prices go down,
Yep.
and
Yep.
that's what we're going to see is people are going to get burnt out, even if there's different versions. We get Mirage, which is more of the old school. We get,
Yep.
like, you can have all of that, but it's still Assassin's Creed. And a lot of
Yep.
people are already burnt out on Assassin's Creed. And I
Yep.
know Murdoch somewhere, out in the wings right now. He probably is not watching at the moment, but he'll watch back later on. Skull and Bones has an interesting idea, but
Yeah.
them actually executing it and getting it out is my only concern because,
Yeah.
again, they are only focused on Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for Outlaws, Star Wars Outlaws,
Hmm.
but, like, they're not really doing anything else at Ubisoft
No, I
right
mean,
now.
yeah, they have the Avatar game, but that looked kind of lackluster to me. Like the gameplay and the open
Yeah,
world and like the new story in that, because I never saw the second
I haven't
movie,
watched it
but
either.
um, just a different take on the Avatar world
Yeah.
is the only thing that's interesting. The gameplay, I mean, it did nothing for me.
No, it looked like a Far Cry skin, and Far Cry
Yeah.
has been a far cry from what it was, in 3.
I know 6 picked it up a little bit, but yeah, since 3, it's 3 is still top dog to this day.
Oh yeah, 3 is amazing, and then you get Blood Dragon, which was so fun.
Yeah,
It was like
exactly.
that zaniness and everything, and then it just
That was the fun Ubisoft time
yeah,
before Vivendi and, everyone else tried to buy them.
yeah, and we get a Just Dance every year. My God, Just
Somehow.
Dance. It's like
Just dance away.
yeah, and then Rabbids, always Rabbids. It feels like they don't know what to push. They've got
Yeah.
it's like this is our established IP. We're just going to keep doing it, and
Yeah.
it's not working. It's not working.
Though I will say the new Prince of Persia does look promising.
That is the only thing that looks promising other than
Yeah.
Outlaws.
Yeah.
So yeah. Amy says I haven't even thought about the basic supply and demand with the whole sequel overproduction. It's so true though. Yeah.
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 So I have another question. This just popped in my head because they have very few else that they're working on. And, of course,
Mm,
they're trying to still keep making Tom Clancy games relevant, but they're trying to make it live service, and so far that's not taking off.
Yeah.
Are you now? Granted, yes, we got in a random reveal that they are doing a Splinter Cell remake. Even though for years they kept teasing, "Oh, we just gotta find the right person, the right time frame." Are you worried that Splinter Cell remake is going to be like Skull and Bones and slash what's that game that Beyond Good and Evil 2. It's going to be like that, and it's just going to take forever before we even like see the light of day.
I don't think they're even making a game. They're just using that as this bandying
Holdover.
stick that this like, oh, look at the shiny thing, and then you get hit in the
Yeah.
head with a stick, and then
Yeah.
you wake up and you're over a fire getting pit roasted. That's
Yeah.
what it feels like with Ubisoft. Like Rainbow Six did well, then Siege did well, Extraction did not.
Yeah.
Are they the ones doing that X Defiant game? Is that
Yeah.
Ubisoft? Okay.
Yeah, that's Ubisoft. Yeah,
I'm
because it's Tom
curious.
Clancy's X Defiant.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if that's got any legs. But I feel like maybe the Division, but the Division's not that big either. Like it does okay.
Sadly, not. I want it to be because I did enjoy what I played of 2. Because 1 set up a good concept, 2 established on what I wanted more out of it, but it just I don't know, it just didn't capture players because, and that's again years ago. That's why they had the sit down where they pretty much berated Eves at an investor meeting, be
Yeah.
like, "Why do you keep releasing sequels right before our new console cycle?"
Yeah. And I loved Ghost Recon back in the day. Like
Yeah,
Ghost
Wildlands
Recon
was great.
Yeah. And even like the older Ghost Recons on like the 360 and all of that were really, really
Future
cool.
Soldier.
Yeah. But like what they've been putting out now?
Yeah.
Ah, dog.
Breakpoint. That was their breaking point.
Yeah, exactly. Let's move on, Derek, to our second story of the night. Tencent to purchase majority stake in Dying Light developer Techland.
This is interesting. They're just buying up everybody. In a blog post penned by Techland founder and CEO Paul Marchukwa, he explains the studio has partnered with Tencent for support of its continued expansion of the Dying Light series and to ensure its upcoming fantasy RPG lives up to expectations. Quote, teaming up with Tencent will allow us to move full speed ahead with the execution of the vision for our games. We have chosen an ally who has already partnered with some of the world's finest video game companies and helped them reach new heights with respecting their ways of doing things. Powell states that he will remain CEO and Techland will retain full ownership of its IPs. He also assures the studio has full creative freedom, while the Polish company is best known as the maker of the Dying Light series, Call of Juarez, and the original Dead Island. It also has a publishing branch. Titles released under Techland's umbrella include Arise, A Simple Story, and Torment, Tides of Numenera. This is business as usual for Tencent, which has dipped its hands into a number of game studios in recent years. It has invested in or has outright acquired companies such as Epic Games, From Software, Turtle Rock Studios, Riot Games, Ubisoft, Activision Blizzard, Remedy Entertainment, among others. The hips keep coming and they don't stop coming.
It's interesting, but it's kind of par for the course for Tencent.
Yeah, exactly.
And Dying Light 2, I don't feel had the reception of Dying Light 1. I feel like it was definitely it felt like it just came and went.
Yeah.
Where the first one was more celebrated. It was a quieter time.
Yeah.
Because it was that January release.
They were the first ones to inevitably set off the first quarter of the year release.
Yeah, and it did really well. But this one, it felt like, we reported several times like the development was kind of weird where the director of the game was like, oh, I want this, and then he would come back the next week and be totally different. I haven't played it. I think it reviewed okay.
Yeah, it got 7s and 8s.
But it wasn't like a world burner. Like it wasn't something that people were just like salivating for, other than the zombies in the game. So Tencent, buying into Techland, getting majority stake, I think will potentially see better management because Tencent is, it's all about making money. So they're going to hold them, feet to the fire type deal. So hopefully we'll get better games because of it. And I think that will be the nice thing on it. Maybe see like Call of Juarez. I don't really want to ever see another game out of that franchise because it kind of
No,
just run itself into
it's
the
a poor
dirt.
Red Dead clone.
Exactly, exactly. And then Dead Island, we just saw Dead Island 2 come out with a different company. So it would
Yeah,
be nice to see them branch out into some new franchises, not just going back to Dying Light. But
yeah,
I know that the development tail for Dying Light 1 was pretty long because they kept supporting and putting out new content
yeah,
like for a very long time.
yeah.
So I'm wondering if we're going to see that kind of process go with Dying Light 2 as well. But Derek, what do you think about this whole Tencent teaming up with him?
Well, and I think it's good because I think both them and Dead Island 2 suffered from like multiple publisher changes because I think they were trying to get the funds for it. So I think them being by the only positive for them is like if being bought by Tencent is means they have stable income
Mm-hmm.
to help fund their games as well. And you know, especially like if they're in the Tencent umbrella, I don't know if Tencent like revenue shares, like if you know one
Mm-hmm.
studio, like one of their other companies does really well, and like one of their others is like suffering right now. It's like, all right, we can pull from these and give it to them type deal. I don't know if it works like that. I know it's like NFL with like ticket revenue types, like where they all poll it throughout the year, and the teams that didn't sell out their stadiums or need to pay their funds or whatever, the teams that sold really well, they send those funds up. You know, they distribute the revenue
Yeah.
evening from ticket sales. So I don't know if it's something similar to that.
Hmm.
Um, but you know, it is promising. Like I know people kind of are wary about Tencent gobbling up everything like they're going to own the world, but not everything they take is going to be bad because we've seen. I know they own. When this is Ubisoft, I think they own shares in Ubisoft. They don't own Ubisoft themselves.
Yeah.
But shares in Activision Blizzard, like all these other studios are somewhat functioning fairly well and be able to put out some decent games. So especially Epic Games, like Epic Games just keeps on rolling. So that's arguably you could make an argument that that's their cash cow along with From Software right now. Um, but I think it's a good thing as long, especially since we've seen they have a track record of letting like he said. The CEO said, like, we're still able to make the games we want, publish our own IPs. We're not answering to somebody else and meeting their demands. So as long as it's that type of thing, and Tencent is just basically the funding, like the funder, like just giving the money
Hmm.
to the studios that need it, that's fine with me.
Yeah. And I think we will definitely see, you know, the cash flow. I think it's like this shot in the arm, essentially a boost to
Yeah,
the system and everything. I will look to see, in 2 years, where is Techland? Have they,
yeah,
elevated themselves? With them just putting out Dying Light
Dying
2,
Light too.
we're
Yeah,
not going to see a new game for a while. But
mm-mm.
within 2 years, we should start hearing,
Rumblings.
about rumblings or whatever about the next game. So only time will
Yeah,
tell what they're going to be able to do and everything. And I hope that Tencent can help them. I
right.
think that Epic is a little bit different of a thing though, but Epic has like
Yeah,
blown up because of Fortnite, but they've also been
yeah,
able to launch several other games, get other games under their umbrella, like Rocket
yeah.
League, and they've changed like the face of gaming because
Yeah.
of like how ingenuitive they've been on everything.
And they've opened another like a PC like gaming store too to rival Steam.
Yeah, and thinking about
So
like with Fortnite, they've even allowed creators, like we have an Epic code, Nerd Cave,
hmm
creator code if you want to check out at the Epic Game Store. But even within Fortnite, they have a new content creation thing. And if people play your content, we talked about this a few weeks ago. Someone made like an only up version within Fortnite, and they made like over $1 million from making their version of only up in Fortnite and sharing their
wow,
code and everything. Like 1.2
that's
million.
awesome.
Yeah. Just crazy. Sorry, I'm about to answer Amy's question, which
Yeah.
is how are the writer strikes affecting game production? So I looked up a little article, and I just smacked it through Chat GPT real quick. So here we go. The ongoing SAG-AFTRA actor strikes and writer strikes, also known as the Hollywood actor strike, will impact movies, TV shows, and other entertainment sectors. The strike will not directly affect video game productions in most cases. The strike prohibits SAG-AFTRA union members from principal camera work, including acting, singing, stunt work, voice acting, and narration. Video game voice acting is usually covered by the Interactive Media Agreement, which is exempt from the strike. Actors are allowed to work on soap operas, talk shows, game shows, reality shows, infomercials, audiobook, and more despite the strike. Promotional work like press junkets and events, including San Diego Comic-Con, will be impacted by the strike, which that just happened. The Mortal Kombat 2 movie production in Australia is on pause. And yeah, so it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, because when I saw this question, I thought about it's like there's really been because you hear about the movies and like even they're talking about the Marvels, like the sequel to Captain Marvel is it may be delayed again because I know they delayed it. It's a funny side story real quick, and I'll get back on it. I was going through McDonald's the other day, and I saw toys for the Marvels, and I'm like, that's usually only around when the movie launches. And I remember the movie was supposed to actually launch this month, and I'm like, maybe McDonald's already made a deal to launch the toy line in July before the delay. But anyway, even movies that are still coming out the end of this year are still in jeopardy of being delayed. But you really haven't heard anything about video games for the rest of this year. Now, whether it starts now, they haven't mentioned about early next year either. But I wonder if, depending on how long these strike talks go on, will it eventually affect them for beginning of next year games? Because a lot of these games are just doing like bug fixing, post-production QA testing, and getting ready to launch, make the games go gold and get ready for launch and whatnot. So I do wonder. I don't think for this year it'll affect games, but I do wonder if 2024 will be affected at all.
Well, here's my thought on it. If they can't work on camera, but they can work on games, we might see a lot bigger names jumping over and getting some work on games because of this.
Interesting.
And if the developers are willing to play ball and treat them fairly, pay them fairly, which I know a lot of indie movies, me and Amy were talking about this, a lot of indie movies are exempt from the SAG-AFTRA because that affects like this big conglomerate of like Warner Brothers, Sony, like those type of things. So a lot of people are starting to do more indie films because they're getting what they want out of it. They're getting to still work. And, like, it's all of these kind of things, but it is interesting. I think what would be really cool is to see some bigger name actors come into the gaming world.
Yeah, can you imagine George Clooney in a video game?
I don't think I want George Clooney in a video game.
I know. That's just the first. You said big names. I'm just like, that's the first one I thought of.
Man, you're like such a 90s kid. You're like, George Clooney.
I know.
I was thinking, Christopher Mickleston.
Oh yeah, Matt. You mean
Mads?
No, Mads Mikkelsen. Yeah,
Mads Mikkelsen, and then
we've already seen him in a video game.
I know. Christopher Eccleston. That's who I was going for. But then, like, you could think of like Benedict Cumberbatch.
Oh yes.
Like doing some cool stuff like that. Morgan Freeman in video games. Exactly.
Yeah.
I crawled through a river of poo. But only time will tell. How long will they be able to go? And, I know this is not necessarily video game news. I think all of these companies that are treating people poorly, I know it's like, oh, well, they're getting paid $100 million. It's like, those are the high named actors. Like, I don't know if you know this, Derek, they were wanting to scan like background actors, their face.
Yeah.
I think I told you about
just copy and paste them.
Yeah. And just use it in perpetuity and all that. And it's just like crazy stuff that they're wanting. So I'm hoping, I think this will break them. I think this will break the awfulness of Hollywood and break their banks because, hey, I'm here for that.
Well, and it's ironic because, Now, granted, it's kind of gone by the wayside, but the almost fungible tokens, the thing we
Yeah.
don't talk about, has kind of got like people kind of growed that wave and then it died down. And now it's like everyone's against AI, but they're actually trying to force implement AI because, that was one of the big hot takes when Secret Invasion first launched. Is like, oh, the opening sequence is AI generated. And everyone's like, why? Why? This is such a terrible thing to do. And it's like, why would you continue to, why do y'all want to force us down our throats? We will not go quietly into this good night.
Yeah, it's I haven't watched Secret Invasion, probably won't. But
Yeah, after I saw I haven't seen the finale, but after the reviews on it, it's like, don't do it.
like they're cramming like graphics and all of this. I know we're on a totally different tangent right now.
Yeah.
But like they give them like 2 weeks to do all the graphics for an entire movie, and it's at as cheap as possible. That's why it's getting worse.
Yeah.
So all those crazy things, all of those things aside, we hope that you are enjoying the episode. Welcome, Joe. Hope you're doing well, man. Let's
What up?
talk about some coffee, Derek, because we got a new sponsor. Coffee Brand Coffee is exceptional quality coffee with no gimmicks and no politics to boot. There are nearly 4,000 verified customer reviews and mostly 5 out of 5 because that coffee's coffee. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you look at that coffee cup and you're just like, man, that's some coffee up in there. But it doesn't stop there. They've got an extensive selection of 12 coffee blends, 12 organic teas, and 3 hot cocoa flavors. And
heck yeah.
If you like cold brew, they have that as well, and K-Cups. So if you got that Keurig, you just pop it in there. Just pow, pow, pow. Now, some of the blends, I was looking on the website, and I was just like, now this looks delicious. Some marshmallow hot cocoa.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Put some marshmallows in that bad boy. Now, this one caught my eye, Derek. Biscotti Oolong Organic Tea.
Oolong, like from Dragon Ball Z?
Well, that's what he's named after. He's named after a tea.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah. But biscotti, you know what a biscotti is, right?
I've heard of it. I don't know what it is.
They are delicious cookies, Derek. But this is biscotti oolong tea, and to put it to boot, Derek, some blueberry cobbler flavored coffee.
That sounds great, actually.
Yeah, I know. It sounds flippin' delicious.
I want some blueberry cobbler.
Get some blueberry cobbler flavored coffee, man. All of these are hand roasted to order, so freshness is guaranteed with US based facilities. So all of it is in the US. You're not getting it imported from all over the place. But what is cool is all of the sourcing is at the highest quality. There are sustainable beans, direct trade relationships, so it's not going through several different parties. And what's also awesome, Derek, is there's environmental focus here at Coffee Brand Coffee, soil preservation, clean water practices, fair treatment for all the workers. So elevate your coffee experience with Coffee Brand Coffee. Use code NERDCAVE at checkout or the link in the description below to get 5% off your order.
Heck yeah. Side note, and I don't mean to put you on blast, but why is it always now with Epic Games? I just thought it was Epic Games code, but now it's like, how does it trip it up going from code to Nerd Cave? Like I don't understand why that keeps tripping you up.
Dude, I don't know. I didn't program my brain. Use code NERDCAVE. I just need to put a pause. Use code NERDCAVE at checkout. There you go. Get your 5% off. Get you some Coffee Brand Coffee. Amy says, I like me some oolong tea. That biscotti oolong tea sound delicious. I'm not even going to lie, y'all. Get you some blue cobbler. Like they got so many dope things. Like if you like coffee, you like tea, you like cocoa, they got them all. Check them out, guys.
I'll say that coffee's for those long gaming sessions you want to get through the night, or if you stayed up and played too long and have a rough morning, you can drink some coffee to wake you up.
Dude, that is. Thankfully, I haven't done that in like forever.
I know we're too old.
Like, man,
nowadays anything creeping too close to midnight's long for me.
I know. I'm just like, nah, dude. Like 1 o'clock, it feels like I've like stayed up till like 5 the next morning. It's like, ugh.
What did I do?
But let's jump into some PlayStation news.
Boop, boop, boop.
Rumor has it, Derek.
Rumor has it.
PlayStation 5 Pro, codename Project Trinity, coming November 2024.
So why do they keep doing this, by the way? Because, a couple weeks ago we talked about the slim version with like the rumored detachable disc drive, and now it's like it's just like a PS4 all over again. They announced the slim and the pro around the same time. Looks like they're gonna do that again, I guess. In every generation of PlayStation consoles, Sony has always released different iterations of its newest hardware. For the first 3 generations of PlayStation, that looked like releasing a slim version of the launch console. The PS4 got a slim version, but it also got a PS4 Pro version, a better version of the base console that promised the best possible PlayStation experience to players with stronger hardware. That Sony has a PS5 Pro in the works has been a long-running rumor, though it looks like the rumor is now picking up pace as the console is allegedly real, codenamed Project Trinity, and it's targeting a launch in November of 2024. It's also alleged this new Pro version of the PS5 will hit more consistent frame rates at 4K, support accelerated ray tracing, and even be able to support 8K through a new performance mode. Developers are said to begin receiving development kits for the PS5 Pro this coming November. While it's likely that Sony could find a market for a PS5 Slim model, which is also allegedly on the way, it's a bigger question if the same will be true for a PS5 Pro. A more expensive version of an already expensive console, with marketing buzzwords like 8K resolution that can't really make good on the promise, especially when no games are optimized for those high resolutions, and 8K TVs are still very far off from being the common TV set you'd find in your own home or your friend's house.
Yeah, that's, it's like, oh, it's got 8K, it's got all of this. It's
Right.
like I don't even use ultra high definition.
Right.
Like, I don't even have that option right now. Like, my TV that I have in my house is still from when I first started teaching. I bought that TV.
Yeah.
I don't buy new TVs. Like, I
No.
buy a TV and then it just lasts. Like the one that I had in college,
Yeah.
it literally still works. I gave it to my nephew like a few years ago. Still works.
Yeah.
So it like, to me, like, yes, a pro version is always nice because like it allows developers to keep pushing past what we normally get or whatever. And
Beyond Plus Ultra.
Exactly. It elongates the life cycle and everything, but I feel like Sony is muddying the water so much.
Yeah.
So much. And I titled this episode, PlayStation will regret this. And this is what I'm talking about, is that PlayStation is literally, like, I know they're trying to future proof and all of this kind of stuff.
Right.
Between this Project Q, the live services, the slim model, it's
the access controller,
the PSVR 2 or virtual reality 2, which is properly called. Like, all of these things are out there, and it's like, okay, that's great, but you're getting so far away from what makes you good, and that is story-based gameplay.
Yeah.
And it's like,
you can make all this tech. If you don't have the games, no one will buy it.
Exactly. And we've seen, moving into the next few years, 60% of development is going to live services. And it's like, you're not dancing with the one that brought you. And you're now finally getting consoles out there. I know we talked about the PS5 Slim model 2 weeks ago a lot and everything. It's like, you're finally getting consoles out there. People are finally buying them. I talked about it in one of the shorts that I made, that they are year over year tripling sales the last few years because more consoles are getting out there. Scalpers are not able to do what they were doing and everything. But it's like, when you stop making the games that people want to play, and that's why PlayStation is so good. Okay. It's not because, Sony just has the magic sauce. It's like, no, Xbox runs as well as a PlayStation. That's just true. All right. I will fight you on that. It runs pretty much the same. All right. You might have a different UI, but they run the same.
You might be able to squeeze more out of the graphics and everything, but that's about it.
Yeah. The only thing that separates them is PlayStation has constantly put out amazing titles. Xbox, the thing that people complain about, guess what? Isn't the console, it isn't this, it isn't that, it is the games.
Yep.
It is the games. You haven't got a new Gears of War in years. Halo was great at the beginning, and then it just,
yeah,
you know, but we haven't got amazing.
Eventually, those dominoes will start falling, though.
Yeah, and it's like you see it with Xbox. They are holding their breath, hoping that Starfield is going to be the savior.
Yeah,
they're hoping.
Their first bank shot was Redfall, and we already know how that went.
Yeah, and Sony, on the other hand, they've been riding on God of War, Last of Us, Horizon, and it's like, okay, what's the next thing?
Spider-Man 2.
Okay, we got Spider-Man 2. What's the next thing? All right, you might get Wolverine, but we might get Ghost 2, but do we get more sequels? Do we get new IPs?
Yeah.
Or are we fixing to get shoved down our throat live services, which we are?
Yeah. Like when we already see for Naughty Dog, that's giving them an issue.
Yeah, and looking at the showcase, the PlayStation showcase, they showed several live services games, and I'm just like, this ain't it, dog.
Nope.
This ain't it.
Nope.
Like, I'm not interested in it at all. So I feel like Sony is stepping in it hardcore with a lot of these decisions, and it's like you are making money hand over fist by just making great games. And you might not be able to, okay, you're not making that crazy GTA money.
Yeah.
All right. You know, you want to make crazy GTA money, you got to make a GTA quality game. There's a reason why GTA 5 has literally been around since 2013. It's because it's a good game.
Yeah.
From the get-go, it was a good game.
Yeah. Right.
And I don't Go ahead.
It made crazy money from the get-go. Like, what was it, $1 million in 3 days or whatever it was?
Yeah, it was crazy. And now this, like, looking at this, like, you know, PS5, I know I'm slamming on the Pro and all of this. It's like, we can have all of these things, 8K TVs and all of that. It could do 8K, but if normal people don't have that, it's not going to make them buy the console.
No.
You know, and the thing that makes people buy consoles are games.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, again, that's, you know, go back to the 360 PS3 era. PS3 struggled with games, and that's why it took them till the very end, the 11th hour, to catch up and beat the 360 in sales. PS4 learned from that. Now, granted, did they do a lot of remakes, ports, and, you know, rely on indie games? Yes, but they actually had games. Or Xbox One, you had Rise, Son of Rome, and that, and then Dead Rising 3, and then Forza Motorsport 5, and that was it.
Yeah, and it was barren for a long time, and thankfully, you know, like looking back at that launch, PlayStation really made indies the go-to on their console and PlayStation 4. And, you know, PlayStation 5 launched a much better lineup, much better launch here and everything. And we've seen so many great games, but it's like, okay, we are at the end of like what has been expected. Like Wolverine is literally the last game that we're kind of, you know, expecting, which that brings us to our next PlayStation discussion. Is Insomniac confirms it's working on an unannounced AAA title.
So Insomniac Games' Aaron Eberhardt has revealed in a new interview that the studio is working on an unannounced AAA title, of which she is the project director for. Eberhardt revealed that she has been with Insomniac Games for nearly 1 year now and had previously worked on Activision Blizzard in their esports division. While she couldn't talk about the unannounced project yet, as you'd expect, Eberhardt did have nothing but positive things to say about Sony as a whole. Quote, "It feels really good back home to Sony, or to be back at home at Sony. I feel like they really invest in their employees. They invest in our education. They invest in our well-being. They invest in our growth. So I found a really good support infrastructure. I've seen a lot of really good projects. The tech that we get to touch and get to experiment with and play with is just awesome." Back in May of last year, it was reported that Insomniac Games was working on a multiplayer project that may also be based on a brand new IP, although it's unknown if this is related to what Eberhardt is talking about. I think this is what it is. Like obviously, I doubt it's going to be a third Marvel title.
Yeah.
Let's because I don't because that'll get old real fast if
Yep.
they're do Spider-Man to Wolverine to whatever another Marvel title.
Yep.
I don't think it's a new Ratchet and Clank because why would it be an unannounced AAA title? Um, I do think because if her background is esports from Activision Blizzard, you got to think with what Sony's new initiative is with this whole live service game. You got to think this is what it is. Unfortunately,
Yeah, and her having that, looking back at like Activision Blizzard and everything with esports and
Mhm.
all of that, um, which I'm assuming would be Call of Duty, because that's only
Yeah,
their only esports other than
yeah,
Overwatch. Like
yeah.
is the
Overwatch League.
like those are the two leagues that they have, Call of Duty League and then
Yeah,
Overwatch. Um, I'm like, since Sony is going down this road, I'm glad that
yeah,
they're getting top tier talent for this. I hate
yeah,
that they're going down this road, but I would rather them do it well than poorly.
yeah.
I don't want to see what what could be. I'm hoping, but what I would love, Derek, if they're
Hmm.
in this unannounced, unconfirmed esports game,
Hmm.
I would love to see PlayStation
But
All Stars come back
you
and
read my mind, sir.
absolutely dominate, like be amazing, like just crush it. But I feel like that landscape is really hard to do
I
because you
know.
have Smash, you have Brawlhalla, you've got
Well,
God, what
and
was
you they
WB's game? I can't even remember the name of it.
yeah,
Multiverses.
yeah, multiverses, and I was just gonna say you had that, and then now they're already shutting it down. Like,
Well, it's not coming back until 2024 or whatever.
well, yeah, I'm about to say, yeah, they're temporarily shutting it down, but still, it's not a good look. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
can it be sustainable? And I don't know. I would be excited for it because I did like PlayStation All Stars. I think it had, like, granted, yes, it could not beat Smash Brothers at all,
Yeah.
but it had a good concept for me, especially like back because that was when they still had mascots and they were really
Mhm.
hitting it with the PlayStation IPs that people wanted to couple with the platformers like Sly Cooper, Ratchet and Clank, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just couldn't survive. And I do want them to give a second shot, but especially since the gap it's been over 10 years
Mhm.
since the first one released. So I think it's enough time to try your hand at it again, but we'll see.
Yeah,
The side Go
go
ahead,
ahead.
sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna wrap it up and talk about Insomniac, but I'll let you finish your thoughts on this.
Like with esports though, it's like I don't know what else they could do because you look at Sony and shooters. Shooters
Yeah.
has never been a strong point of Sony.
No.
Like you say
No.
Killzone, and I'm going to just laugh at you. You say Resistance Fall of Man. I am going to spit in your face because those controls were so sloppy. Oh my
Yes,
God.
they were.
They were so sloppy. Couldn't even play that game. So shooters are not their strong point, and I know that they have Bungie now, which Bungie makes amazing shooters. I'm not even saying anything about them. This is Insomniac.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a totally different company. So I
Yeah.
don't know what they could be doing unless they
Yeah.
do a hero shooter that's kind of like Overwatch.
Yeah.
But if they're going to go into the shooter landscape, they've got Fortnite, they've got Call of Duty, just going to knock their teeth out.
Apex.
Apex, yeah. They've got three big boys that are just going to just beat them up. It'll be 2 weeks
Yeah.
and then that game's done.
Exactly. But at least you know what us and let me pose this to you. Is this while we can praise like Insomniac for just churning out games, like I know they did Spider-Man 2018, but ever since the PS5 launch, that was shortly after or shortly around the time that PlayStation bought Insomniac.
Mhm.
But they've just been trying to be like, the what was it, the overachieving student that tries to get noticed by
Yeah.
the teacher.
Yeah.
It's like they had Miles Morales, then the next year they put out Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Then now they're putting out Spider-Man 2, and then in the future they're putting out Wolverine. And it's like, when are y'all going to take a break? Like, you don't have to prove to Sony that their investment was worth it. We are, we know you make great games. Like, I don't know what you're trying to prove here, but good. Do you worry that Insomniac is trying to? I know they have several studios, like I know they have one in Burbank, one in North Carolina, so they can kind of trade off who does what.
Yeah.
But do you worry that Insomniac is trying to do too much at one time?
I feel like I don't even know how big Insomniac is. I think that's a lot of. Let's look. How many
employees
does Insomniac Games have? Because that's really going to depend on it. They have over 520 employees.
Wow.
And that's in 2021. They had over 400. So
got you.
They're a large company. Like,
yeah,
once you like, they're not like CD Projekt Red big.
Yeah, no.
But that's still a very large AAA developer.
Right.
And if they we've gone past the days of where like they'll hire and then fire a bunch of people, hire, you know, like ramp up or whatever. They probably got really two sets of developers, you know, working on one game and then the other. I think, you know, this might just be looking like good management. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
You know, and like we're not hearing anything about crunch, but
right. Yeah, I'll say, we haven't mentioned that in a good long while.
So it's like, is this what proper management of a game studio looks like? Is where you can turn around these games? Like, think about Obsidian, dude. Obsidian is constantly putting out games over on the Xbox side.
Yeah,
it's like
they've got two on the horizon.
Yeah, it's like every time you breathe, it's like Obsidian put out a game. You're like, what?
Right.
So I think that it might be just more proper management and, you know, timelines and everything. Because you know, maybe they need to send some of these Insomniac people over to Media Molecule and beat them up.
Right. It's like, this is how you properly use your time with the game.
Derek, it's time for some PlayStation quickies.
Yes, it is. First up, PlayStation's Project Q gaming handheld leaked images and video reveal more about the new device. Following that, new Project Q images seemingly confirm it is Android-based. PlayStation is on the lookout for manager to identify, quote, inorganic growth opportunities through acquisitions and investments, aka they plan to buy more people, more companies, excuse me. Sony E3 2006 press conference and its giant enemy crab can now be viewed in 1080p. Crossfire Sierra Squad will launch on PSVR 2 on August 29th. High on Life is now available on the PS5 and PS4. Final Fantasy 16 has sold well relative to the PS5 install base, says Square Enix. Following that, Square Enix survey asked what fans want to see from Final Fantasy 16 in the future. Marvel Spider-Man 2 themed PS5 console bundle revealed and launches on September 1st. Spider-Man 2 Comic-Con panel reveals more story details along with new trailer, which we might see later on. Spider-Man 2 brings new open-world traversal in the shape of web wings. Mary Jane's face has not been changed despite controversy in Spider-Man 2, confirms Insomniac. Insomniac promises more New York and Marvel landmarks, including Aunt May's house in Queens. And lastly, Todd McFarlane praises Spider-Man 2's Venom, saying, quote, they did a nice job of making him feel like a monster.
I feel like a monster. You remember that song?
Yeah, Skillet.
Yeah. So last week they confirmed that there's going to be a Spider-Man 2 PS5 and everything.
Yeah, I sent you an image of it.
Yeah, dude, I feel like I'm on a roll here. I know it's not the PS5 Slim, but I did confirm. I was like, they're going to put out a Spider-Man one. This is going to be the first one, and I'm like, and God of War is just like, boy,
am I a joke to you?
Yeah, I know. I am glad that they are putting out the plates.
Yeah, I was just going to say the plates and the controller will be sold. We'll be able to buy separately as well,
which is nice because, like, yeah, I will be getting those plates. I want those on my PlayStation. But you know, if it would have just been exclusive, I would have like, I would have been very mad. I would have been calling Jim up. I'd be like, hey, Jim.
Let me holler at you for a second.
Yeah. Be like, Jim, the quick hits are brought to you by our wonderful patrons. You become part of the part of the exclusive crew by going over to patreon.com/nerdcave. Helps us support the show, pay for awesome videos to be edited, and make content like this each and every week, along with all of the shorts that we do throughout the week and everything. So thank you to all of our wonderful patrons. Each and every month you support us, and it means the world to us. So thank you very much. If you want to go over there and support us, again, it is patreon.com/nerdcave, and it's time for the Patreon quick hits.
Yes, it is. Starting off, the Borderlands movie will premiere on August 9th of next year. Following that, Skull Island Rise of Kong has been announced for this fall. Armored Core 6 multiplayer reportedly supports up to 6 players. Following that, Armored Core 6 said to be 50 to 60 hours long. Star Wars Outlaws will let you work for and even betray Jabba the Hutt. Following that, Outlaws isn't a, quote, 300-hour epic unfinishable RPG and will be, quote, very manageable. Lastly, Star Wars Outlaws was not inspired by the canceled Star Wars 1313 game. Mortal Kombat 1 will feature J.K. Simmons as the voice of Omni-Man from Invincible. Borderlands Echo Vision Live, announced by Genvid Entertainment, features 8 new characters. Adam Eve is a PC visual novel set in the Invincible universe. Starfield's pickpocketing will make things way more intense by playing out in real time. Starfield animated shorts shows 3 of the game's major cities. Skyrim's modders might be Starfield's secret weapon. Microsoft creates TMNT-themed pizza-scented Xbox controllers. Following that, Microsoft is rolling out Xbox controller keyboard remapping to expand its input possibilities. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 logo and artwork have leaked. Sledgehammer Games teases Modern Warfare 3 with new header image on Twitter. Xbox 360 Call of Duty Classics shoot to the top of top paid games list. Criterion may have already begun work on a new Need for Speed. Disney Speedstorm Season 3 launches August 1st and is themed around Lilo and Stitch. Tekken 8 director indicates it won't be short on single-player content and extra modes. Following that, the Tekken 8 director confirms gameplay will be, quote, heavily tuned before release. Exoprimal celebrates 1 million players with free skin in an August 16th update. Ubisoft clarifies that it won't delete game libraries due to game inactivity after fan panic. Diablo 4 menu design changes coming as players are activating Premium Battle Pass by accident. Following that, Diablo 4 Season 1 Battle Pass doesn't net you enough premium currency to buy the next Battle Pass. Blizzard issues stark warning to Diablo 4 players to stop using game-modifying software or risk a permanent ban. EA confirms Skate 4 playtest will come to consoles, but there's no date yet. CD Projekt Red is laying off nearly 10% of its workforce as it admits it's, quote, overstaffed. Futurama transports Bender, Leela, and Fry into Fortnite. Sea of Stars launches day and date into PlayStation Plus game catalog, as well as Xbox Game Pass. Texas Chainsaw Massacre dev is looking into, quote, more traditional DLC without a battle pass. Capcom reveals the Resident Evil series has sold 146 million copies worldwide. Lego 2K Goal listed to launch September 15th by Amazon. Netflix's animated Castlevania Nocturne series will premiere on September 28th. Sega seems to suggest there won't be a physical release of Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name in the West. Battlefield 2042 update brings ability for squad leaders to kick players from their squad. Zelda Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons are now available on Nintendo Switch via the online expansion. Microsoft now lets you buy Xbox games and Game Pass subscriptions with Venmo. New month coming up with August. We're almost done with July, which means Xbox Games with Gold. Your last couple Xbox Games with Gold coming in the near future. With Xbox Game Pass Core coming to replace it. For the entire month, this is the first in a while. For the entire month, you get 2 games, not one of those staggering where you get one mid-month. You get Blue Fire and Inertial Drift. Now you also, including the PS Plus Essentials for August, you get on the PS5 and PS4 PGA Tour 2K23. On the PS4, you get Dreams just a month before they're going to shut it down. Whoop. And lastly, on the PS5 and PS4, you get Death's Door.
So, Derek, I wanted to ask this question.
Yes.
July, we had a good PlayStation Plus Essentials month.
Yeah.
We got Call of Duty. Cold
Yeah.
War. We got Alan Wake remastered, and then some other game I don't even remember.
Yeah.
Amazing games. All right. Cold War, whatever. But Alan Wake remastered, yeah, it's a good game. And then this month we get Dreams, like you said, going to be shutting down next month.
Yeah.
It feels like, hey, here's a game that you're not going to be able to play
Right.
in a month. And then Death's Door, like from the reviews, it got like a 9 out of 10 on IGN.
Yeah.
But then PGA Tour 2K23, there's a new one fixed to come out.
Yeah.
And it reviewed poorly. It was like a 6 out of 10.
Oh yeah. Ooh, woof, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So like it feels, my question is PlayStation killing the regular plus, like essential, like they did with games for gold, and going to, within a year or two, we see essentials go away, and then we get a just a 2-tier system here.
I'm of two schools of thought because, well, one, just kind of bragging on me a little bit. I did say, about a month ago that when I saw the games with gold keep getting worse and worse, I'm like, they're going to stop this, aren't they? And then sure enough, Game Pass Core was a thing. But I'm of two schools of thought. I could see them getting away with that to kind of push extra and premium.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, Essentials and Premium are not doing the money that Game Pass is.
Mm-mm.
And I know, like, PlayStation, some companies, once they get a little too big for their britches, can just go dragging us into that good, into the void, and just saying you're going to like it and you're going to just deal with it.
Yeah.
I get that. But also at the same time, it's like, I think they do want to have I don't think they will, for my short answer. But if they do, I do think they want a lower cost of entry point.
Yeah.
To have for those people who don't have that much income, and also give them something, because they've talked about ad nauseum about they're never going to be, day one on PC ports, and they're not going to do day one on their PS Plus, like how Game Pass is with their games. So I think with that being the thing, I don't think they want to get rid of Essentials for that same reason, because until they make that decision, now if they ever do flip flop and go to that decision, sure, I could see them getting rid of that and just doing premium and extra. But I don't think they'll get rid of Essentials, at least anytime soon. Yeah, the games can be hit or miss, but I still think because we're starting to see them increase it, because I think earlier this year we saw Forbidden West come to day one, and then what was it? Was it Ragnarok, or was it what other game? It was like a big first party title, or like it was another game that came later, a couple months ago, that came out like last year or the year before to Essentials. So I think them doing that will keep it alive for longer. Now, again, will it eventually go down? Probably. I don't think it'll be anytime soon, though.
Yeah, it just feels like majority of the time Essentials just gets crap games. Like,
yeah,
I would rather see 2 games or even 1 game, but it'd be really good. Because 9 times out of 10, like looking at this coming up month, there are 2 games that are not great. Like, I know a lot of people like Dreams is awesome and all of this, but it's like, it's literally shutting down next month. It is going to be a non-playable game after this month, this upcoming month and everything. And then you get 1 good game that is probably 15 hours. And that's, that's a big enough game or whatever. I'm not knocking Death's Door. Don't come at me. But it's like, when you give me 1 game that's not going to be playable after a month, and then you give me PGA Tour 2K23 that reviewed awful, and there's a new one coming out soon, it's like you're not giving me anything,
right? And I'm of there's a couple factors into that, right? And I don't want to go down this rabbit hole too much, but I think one, with people's time now, because there's so much to do in the world nowadays, like with like entertainment and stuff that needs to grab your attention. I think with stuff, they want to play stuff that's relevant, like new, like the new. So like the quote, the infamous Greg Miller, old games old. So a lot of these games that come free have already been out for probably a year or more, maybe at the best, maybe 6 months.
Yeah.
before it hits free. Gone are the days of like Rocket League hitting
Yeah.
day one on release day. So you're not getting that new news. So people are like, oh, like it was nice to get Cold War and Alan Wake remastered, because those type of games make sense, because new Call of Duty's coming out in the fall, Alan Wake 2's in October, so that's kind of like, just as a refresher, like those are kind of nice refreshers, if you were thinking about going back and replaying those. At the same time, how many people are going to do that? And Xbox, to their credit, figured that out. It's like, hey, these games with gold, we're not getting the deals, and people probably aren't playing them, but people are playing Game Pass because they're fresh. Like, yes, even though they're still old games, they're rotating them out to make them feel fresh. PlayStation, once their month is gone, that's it. Like, I know they have their catalog and whatnot, but we don't see it talked about as much as Game Pass. And the other school of thought is, with Game Pass, like free trials and demos are making a comeback. People are wanting to try that out more than old games. Like, especially the demos of either games that are currently out or that are coming out. People are wanting to try those and devote their time and attention to that, to see if they're going to like the game and want to spend $60-$70 on it before release.
True that. I thought Alan Wake Remastered came out like way closer to now, but it was like in 2021. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm a little off on that one. But anyway,
right, like, where did that time go?
I want to hit Dan's comment real quick. He said, I heard about oracles and ages. That's awesome. Talking about Legend of Zelda. It would be really cool if they would make more modern versions like they did with Link's Awakening. And, I think that would be dope. I could definitely see them doing more remakes or remasters, if you will. Because you look at Link's Awakening, I think it did really well sales wise. And then I think even like the Wind Waker like remaster that they did not too long ago did pretty well. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Dan also said they also have different types of games at different tiers that you have to pay extra for instead of giving everything at the same price. I'm assuming you're talking about PlayStation Plus Essentials or PlayStation Plus. Yeah, I feel like it's a weird system that they concocted. It is a very PlayStation thing.
Well, it's like pay the highest tier to play PS1 and 2 classics, and it's like, I'm not going to shell out, was it $100 or whatever it is, to play 20-plus-year-old games. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, there's no reason to, and it's like, okay, if you actually put out games, not even day and date, like let's say 6 months later, I get Ragnarok. Hey, that's dope. Of course I'm going to get that day one, but it's like, games that I might not jump on right away, like Final Fantasy 16. 6 months later, dude, that'd be dope. Final Fantasy 7 remake or remaster, whatever it's called, dope. But like, they're not doing that. They're like, hey, you want to play Tomba? It's like, I played that, 1990.
Yeah, exactly.
3 or what, not 19. I would have been 3 or whatever.
Want to play Ape Escape? And it's like, no.
Yeah. I love Legend of Dragoon, but I ain't playing it.
No.
That thing looks like doo-doo. You know what I mean?
I know, we're just spoiled,
We are spoiled.
We're just spoiled gamers.
We are spoiled. Amy said pizza scented. I saw like this image of this woman like sniffing a controller. Like, was the TMT controller. And I was like, what in the world? Why is your nose so close to that controller? I was like, I do not understand this. I did want to say something real quick, and then we're going to get into our last segment of the night. With Xbox older games like coming back online, Gears 1 through 3 is now back active online.
Oh,
like, their lobbies and everything work.
Wow.
Yeah. Almost makes me want to boot up 3, get that sawed-off shotgun.
Right.
Oh, 3. I was a terror. I'm gonna just say it.
Oh, I know. Trust me. I watched you.
Oh man, that sawed-off shotgun, baby. Oh, yeah, I love it. I love seeing that Xbox doing something good. But yeah, I'm excited. Derek.
Yeah, you got that sawed off, and then you would text me and to sign you in for attendance in class in your college course.
Hey, now we don't talk about that, Derek. We don't talk about that. Nope. Nope. Kick into the last section, Derek.
Yeah.
Guys,
I thought you wanted to talk about CD Project Red.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
My fault. But
No.
yeah, so we are bringing back a segment for mainly because of whenever I get around to finding a cool video, we are bringing back for this week the coolest thing I saw this week. And a little thing called Comic-Con happened over the weekend. Not a lot. There was still some big news from some things, but not a lot of news. Mainly because of the SAG-AFTRA strikes right now. But we did get a little story trailer from a game not many have heard of called Spider-Man 2. And I want to check that out because I have not yet watched it.
I haven't either.
A lot's happened in the last 10 years. It's a miracle I'm even sitting here now. I got a second chance.
That must be
I'm
Harry.
gonna take advantage of that. But I need you with me.
You're not my Spider-Man.
I know. Bring back Yuri. I know he's still the voice, but still.
Yeah.
Bring back his face.
Ooh, that music. Let's go.
I know. That's that intense, like, stuff's going down.
Hey, good to meet you.
New job, huh? Still gonna have time for tutoring?
We'll figure it out.
Ooh.
Oh, there's Craven.
I didn't know there were bears in these woods.
Ursa Major?
Hey, MJ. I have another name for you.
That does not look like the same MJ.
He's here on some kind of hunt.
Omniax does otherwise.
No, if you need me, I'm just a call away.
Hey, you don't know what you took.
Oh, that's Mr. Negative.
All Miles
Oh, yeah.
Be a better Spider-Man. How to help you?
What the hell's going on with Pete?
He's not himself. Go help him.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, oh
It's my
man.
dream. I'm not going to lose him.
We're going to heal the world.
Tony Todd. Woo!
Dude.
Big boy.
Oh my God. It looks so good.
I know. Oh, that's cool.
Ah, that looks so good. Joe asked how many years are in between. So it's 6 months, right? In between
Yes, I want to say.
this and Miles Morales, correct?
Yes. Yes.
So it's picking up pretty quickly, dude. Hearing Tony Todd,
I know.
oh, so good. I love it. We know who's going to be Venom. Like it's like all but confirmed in that trailer. It's going to be Harry. Harry's going to be the new Venom.
Well, there's an interesting theory. I don't know if I want to say it here, but we can talk after the show because there's an interesting theory floated around there. So
Okay.
so
To answer Joe's question, why do they look so different? So Miles looks pretty much the same. He does have different hair.
yeah, he's got that. Everyone's going with that Killmonger look lately.
Yeah. But Harry, they changed his face
Yeah.
for whatever reason, and then MJ does not look like herself. I'm gonna just say.
You mean Peter?
no?
They changed his
MJ.
face.
Yeah. Who did I say?
Harry.
Oh, yeah. We never saw Harry's face, so it is
No.
changed
We
from
saw
what
his
we-
body.
Yeah. But Peter's face changed from when they released the original game. Like they did. When was it? When Miles Morales came out, they put a new face on him, or what? They,
Yeah, because they did a bundle with like a Spider-Man remastered version from
Yeah.
for the PS5, and that's when they changed. They brought in a different actor to scan his face.
Yeah. So that's definitely when we got the new face, and then MJ does not look the same. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I don't care what
I don't know.
Insomniac says. That does not look like the same. Like it might be updated because it was 2016, right?
Wait, what?
When Spider-Man, the first one, came out.
2018.
2018. It's all the same. So it's been a while, but yeah, definitely. I don't know.
You're not my dad. I don't know you.
Yeah. Dan says, bring back Toby. Toby Maguire. Craven is Venom. Definitely, like I could definitely like the body makes more sense being that big.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Uh,
Feel like it's
do
hairy.
you, that raises a good question just for you. Do you think we'll see multiple people wear the symbiote suit in the game?
I think so.
Like talking about like 3 or more.
I think 3 or less.
Okay.
I feel 2.
Okay.
I feel like 2. It's gonna be
Yeah.
Peter and then whoever Venom is, like the actual Venom.
But you know, I think the theme, because you know, I know it's not a good comparison, but you know it's a good comparison for this. But you know how they had different themes for the 2 Last of Us games. Like one's like, oh, I forget what the first one is like love, and then the second one, the theme of it was, you know, hate and grief, all that kind of thing. Spider-Man 2, it feels like it's going to be like hate, rage, because you know we saw in the gameplay trailer from a few months ago. Peter's up, you know, when he's got that suit on him, he's ticked. And then we see in this trailer, you know, Mr. Negative pops up and Miles sees him. He's like, you took everything from me. So it's like, is it going to be a story about anger?
Yeah. Like, I didn't even think that was Mr. Negative. Like, I was like, who? Like,
Yeah, everyone forgets about him because that, you know, I don't want to say he was a forgettable villain, but you know, even though he played a major part in like how the story played up, people forget about him because it was like once you beat him, that's it.
Yeah. Well, and it's like then you got the bad guy, like, you know, in the first game, like they made Mr. Negative this huge deal, and it was like you dropped him like a bad habit.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm excited for this one, Derek. October 20th. Can I get here soon enough? Cannot wait.
3 months.
Jump in, you know, and play some Spider-Man, some Spooderman.
Spider-Man.
I think it's going to be fantastic. I think it's going to be Game of the Year.
Ooh, I mean, it's definitely going to be a candidate, that's for sure.
Yeah. Only time will tell, guys. Only time will tell.
Oh, do we want to talk about the game I played?
Yeah, Derek, tell me about the game you played.
So I've been playing a lot because, you know, I keep seeing you stream it. And, you know, I even though I don't watch the streams because I don't want to have it spoiled for myself.
Yeah.
But I played Jedi Survivor, and I played a good couple chunks of it. I'm going to say the names of the planets just for reference. Like, it's not a spoiler,
Yeah,
per se. But, you know, I was on, what was the first planet's name?
Coruscant, Kobo.
No, the first actual planet you go to. Kobo, yes. So I finished Kobo, went to Jeddah, did all of that on Jeddah, found, you know, the base.
Yep.
Then went to the moon to do some investigating. Excuse me. Went back to Kobo to do that investigation. And, you know, I've been wrapping up side quests and, you know, like rumors and all that kind of stuff. And then I'm back on Jeddah again to do just find the labors of my research. So I've knocked out a good couple chunks of Jedi Survivor. Yeah.
Nice, man. Are you still as impressed as you were from our first impression when we talked about it?
Oh, for sure. Like, just like the quality of life improvements in the gameplay alone. Like, again, I can't tell you how many times I still did muscle memory where, like, when I'm climbing on stuff, I would jump down or jump over, and I'd still be trying to press the left trigger because, you know, you got to reattach yourself in the game for whatever reason, and it just does it automatically. I'm like, oh, I forget this is a thing. This is so nice not have to stress about making sure I hit the button.
Yeah. Now, so you finished Jeddah, correct? And you went to the moon after?
Yeah, I finished Jeddah the first time, and I went to the moon first, and then back to Kobo because there's 2 research areas you got to do.
Have you done Jeddah twice?
I went back to Jeddah the second time, but I have not done. That's where I stopped. Like I went back to the base.
There's something I want to talk about, but you haven't done it yet.
Of course, there's always something.
That is so cool. Like, it is one of the coolest set pieces in the game so far.
Okay.
Like, really, really cool. I can't wait for you to get there so we can talk about it. It is awesome. But I'm glad you're getting to play more of it. I've really enjoyed the game. I think, you know, the storytelling is a lot richer in the game.
Yeah, for sure.
I wish I just had more time to just sit down and play it because, again, I'll only play on stream.
Once a week.
Yeah, so it's like I get like the 2 hours or whatever, which I know that's probably more than some, but you know, it's like I get one time a week and then I got to really remember what's going on and everything. But
right.
loving the game. The combat's really cool. I literally had to switch my fighting style to beat somebody the other night. Literally refunded every single of my skill points to be able to, like, I had to like recast my person to be able to beat this person.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was intense. It was very intense, but after I learned the new fighting style, like I did it, like I fought the person like twice after that, and then was able to beat them. But like beforehand, I was like, I got to like, you know, like in a boss fight, there'll be like the halfway point, and then like it'll restart the next, you know, have a little cutscene or whatever.
Yeah,
it's like I got there, but then I couldn't get past it. So re-rolling definitely helped. But yeah, it's the fighting stances are very interesting. But definitely for your boss fights, there are some that are more
effective
and helpful. So
yeah, because you know, again, not spoiling anything, but you know, it's the stance you get after the first Jeddah visit that I was like, okay, this is cool, but I can already see myself not using it because I think it's like the fourth stance you learn.
Yeah,
and I was like, okay, I probably won't use it, and I didn't. And then I got the fifth stance going to the moon, and I'm like, this is cool. You know, it was a reference to modern stuff, and I'm like, this is pretty cool. I'm gonna use this, and then as I'm progressing through the fights, especially when I'm fight bigger crowds, I'm like, okay, this is more of like for tank swinging. This is for like more heavy damage. I need to swap to a faster stance for crowd control.
Yeah, definitely. The American breathing style, I like that. That was what I was rolling with, that and the dual blades for a really long time. Those were my two styles.
Yeah.
And then totally had to switch. Like,
yeah,
it was very interesting. I was like, I literally asked chat, I was like, do I re-roll and try? And I did.
Everyone's like, yes.
Yeah, it was like, I was like, I don't think I can beat him with what I got right now. Cause
yeah,
my suggestion to you, since you're, you know, still a little bit earlier than I am, don't spread your points out to a bunch of different fighting styles. Pick the two that you want, re-roll yourself, and then just invest in those two styles instead of having stuff in, you know,
stuff you're never going to use.
Yeah, exactly. Like the one that you have to, like, you're forced to use on like the single blade. Just re-roll it, get that point back, and then use it on the skills that you want and everything.
Okay. Sounds good.
So that's going to do it for us tonight, guys. We hope that you enjoyed it. Again, this is the Nerd Cave, and we thank you for being here. This has been Zach.
And Fizzle Wings, the Tea Dragon.
Y'all have a blessed week. Bye.